What's going on, everybody? Steve here. This time I'm in Lansing, Illinois, which is kind of on the south end of the Chicago metro area, right around the 8094 Illinois-Indiana state line. And today I'm at the Lan-Oak Park District Skatepark and Pump Track. This park was built by Spawn Ranch, I believe, a few years ago, and it offers a wide range of street and transition obstacles as well as a pump track. So whether you're a skater or a BMX rider, you'll probably find something that you enjoy here. And even though it's 90 degrees today, we've got a nice shelter to start the video off underneath, and I'm going to take you through the park. The Lan-Oak Skate Park is relatively low impact. There are a few taller sections, but I'm going to start with the shorter sections, which are on the north end of the skate park. So what you see in front of me is a very wide, long, super mellow 2-foot quarter pipe, and it's got like kind of a J shape to it. So if you looked at this from an aerial perspective, where I'm standing on is really the bottom of the J, and it works as kind of like a roll-on grind quarter. So down here it's completely flat, and then eventually transitions towards the other end as a 2-foot quarter. So really easy to kind of do all kinds of different tricks on, learn, whether you're a kid starting out on skating or you just like to mess around with something low. This quarter definitely has it. And then it transitions into a pretty low impact, smaller street area. So first thing that you see is this nice, about foot tall, 20-foot long round flat bar that goes slightly down an incline. So it's not just straight across flat, it actually slopes downward. So you don't need a whole lot of speed to get onto it or slide the whole thing, but if you're coming the opposite direction, you're going to need some speed to carry across it. Now to the left of it is this like manual pad ledge mini hubba thing, if you will. This thing is about the same length, so about 20 feet long, and right in the middle of it is when it starts to slope down. So this top part, the first 10 feet, is actually completely flat, and then it slopes down into a mini hubba. And you can see that there is a slightly taller flat bar, maybe about 16 inches off the ground, right next to it. They can almost skate like a bump to bar coming towards the north end. But, you know, like I said, it's kind of a slope down towards the end, so it does skate like a mini hubba, and then, of course, like a manual pad. And then the third and final piece of this low impact area is a long 3-stair with a mini hubba and a miniature, well, maybe not miniature, but about a 14-inch tall down rail that, again, pretty easy to get onto whether you are coming on the left side or the right side. So kind of nice little low impact area to have fun, mess around on, and also learn and progress depending on where your skill set is. Next, we have a small A-frame and hip. The A-frame has both a round bar and a ledge, as you can see. These are about 12 feet long on each end, so whether you're coming from the left or the right, you're going to set up front side or back side. And, you know, they're pretty straightforward, and they are definitely mellow enough to where you could get on them from the flat and go over and down if you wanted to. The end parts of it are, I would say, about 18 inches tall, and then the apex of the A-frame, so right there in the middle, is like 12 inches. So you do need a little bit of pop to get up to it, but it's not that bad. And then there's a little hip here as well. This hip is probably 1.5 feet tall at the most. So very mellow, easy to do all kinds of tricks on it. Then there's just your standard circle flat bar. This thing is about 12 feet long and about 16 inches off the ground. And that opens up into like this hip area and banks. So you can see in front of me, there's a 4-foot hip. This thing is about 10 feet wide on each side of the hip, and definitely will kick you up into the air pretty well. The one kind of downside of this is that you really have to be pushing out of the back of the quarter. So there's not like a ramp to get the speed that you need to really do some big time airs off of it. So you definitely are pumping and pushing up to it if you want to skate that way. And then on the opposite side of it, you've got this really nice about a 3-foot tall bank to a foot tall ledge. So this is nice and mellow, nice easy pitch to it. The ends of it make it so that you can get on from either end and grind it, or manual across the entire thing. And if you're feeling up for it, you could potentially also do a fly out across a grass gap behind it onto the sidewalk. Now, the backside of that 4-foot hip area I showed you turns into basically a 4-foot by 16-foot mini ramp. So this thing is super smooth, relatively seamless, and gives you plenty of opportunity for skating all kinds of mini ramp lines. So very straightforward in nature, and kind of a nice thing to have sort of in the middle of the skate park to keep those that really like transition skating separate from the people who are doing more of your standard street style skating. Then that mini ramp area kind of transitions into like a steeper volcano style hip, kind of weaves in and out almost like a flow bowl. But you've got these like a clamshell style quarter pipe or taco shell style quarter pipe on one end that at its tallest point is about 3.5 or 4 feet tall. Obviously you can see that it's mellow on both ends. So these are about 1.5 feet or 2 feet at the most. So it really is intended for you to carve around and pump and carry speed so that you can get over to the pump track. So this almost functions a little bit like a snake run, because as I'm kind of weaving through this, you can see there's another set of quarters. This is about 3 feet tall and goes all the way down to about 1 foot tall. Again, with this kind of like J style curve. So something that's a little bit unique and interesting. Obviously you can see in front of me, the drainage isn't that great in this location. So I don't know what that does to the park long term. Then you've got a roller to pump over, followed by a bank ramp that transitions into the pump track. And so that really does it for the concrete part of the skate park. And next I will show you the asphalt pump track that is kind of separated by this pavilion area. The pump track is, like I said, asphalt, and it's broken into basically 2 sections. So there's a circuit here towards the front that kind of varies in heights from about 3 feet down to like 1 or 2 foot rollers. And you just got a couple of them to flow through. And then you've got on the other side, another kind of separate track. So there really could be somebody either doing a big loop around the outer part of this or cutting around the middle to keep their runs going. So it almost functions, not quite a figure 8, but it just injects a little bit of variety so that you can take a big loop or a shorter loop coming around it. Now, as I get towards the end of this, I'm going to show you that there's not a backside to that middle part. So you can see as I get into this area, there's nothing to really carve around. So it's not your like what you'd think of as like a figure 8 pump track, but you know, it does have the ability to like kind of keep people from running into each other. And there's just a lot of like pumping action that you can skate through or ride through if you like. All right, so that does it for the Lan-Oak Skate Park and Pump Track here in Lansing, Illinois. I hope you found this video interesting and maybe you're inspired to come check out the park if you're like on the south end of Chicago or in the northwest Indiana region. A lot of fun obstacles. I had a fun time skating this. Especially was nice that no one was here when I was here, so I had the place to myself. Even though it's 90 degrees, I still had an enjoyable time, and yeah, I look forward to coming back for my next session. But if you have any questions about the park, just drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next skate park tour video. Thanks for watching.